This is the equipment and techniques video for pipettes. In the Gen Chem lab, you'll encounter two types of pipettes, a volumetric pipette and graduated pipettes. For both of these, we'll use a pipette filler to drop solution and then evacuate it into either our rinses or our sample glassware. The volumetric pipette has a known graduation mark that will read exactly the volume of the pipette as listed. So for this one, it would be 25 milliliters at this graduation. Graduated pipettes, as you can see, have graduations of set volumes. The volumetric pipette is much more precise over the graduated. When selecting a pipette, it's important to check the graduations, because some will read to the end of the pipette and some will read before the tip. So for this one, if you were to dispense 1 milliliter out of these, both these are 1 milliliter pipettes, you would fill up your pipette and you would dispense all of it from this one. As you can see, there is no 1 millimeter marking here, so all of it being released would be 1 mil, and these are known as blowout graduated pipettes, whereas you would have ones where the graduations stop. So for this one, you would fill this up with your solution. You would evacuate your solution until the graduation mark of 1. Anything else would be more than 1 milliliter being dispensed. When we pipette, it's important to make sure our pipette filler works. To check that, you need to know what each button stands for when operating the pipette. At the top of the bulb, we have A, which stands for aspirate. Aspirate, when we squeeze it and squeeze the bulb, we'll find that we will remove the air from your bulb, creating a vacuum, a potential vacuum for your solution to be drawn up in. As you can see here, this bulb is slowly filling back up. This means you have a defective bulb. So we'll have to get another bulb. So once you've found a bulb that can correctly aspirate, as you can see, this is not inflating again, giving us this potential vacuum to suck up our solution. Now, when you put the pipette filler onto your pipette, you're going to make sure that when you do it, you're only going to gently put the filler onto the mouth of the pipette, so it's just resting on top. If you jam the pipette filler onto here, you will create a vacuum that will seal this onto here with the rubber, and it'll be very difficult to get off. So especially if this is dry and you put it on here, we'll have a lot of trouble of these getting stuck, and often these will break and students will accidentally impale themselves with a broken pipette. So please avoid putting on your bulb so that it doesn't become jammed and then breaking the pipette. The first thing you're going to want to do once you have your pipette filler bulb on is you're going to want to rinse your pipette with water. To do that, we're going to put our pipette, submerge it into water, and we're going to then use the S button, which stands for suction. So when you push this, it will draw up your solution into your pipette, allowing you to rinse it. We always rinse with water because we don't know what was in the pipette before if it isn't clean. And then to remove the water, we're going to push the E. These directions can be found explicitly in the equipment and techniques document, which will be found in your pre-lab materials. So there you can see, I'm getting rid of the water from the rinse. And this will allow us to then move on to our sample, which we're taking up. If your bulb has inflated while rinsing, make sure to aspirate again before you draw up your solution. Now, another rule with pipettes is when you're drawing up your solution that you're taking, you're going to want to rinse the pipette with said solution that you're either going to be titrating weighing out or analyzing. So what we're going to do is, as we're putting our pipette in, we'll push the S, allowing for the suction, drawing up our solution to be analyzed, and picking up any extra water that was in there. You'll want to then dispense by pushing the E for evacuate, so you'll dispense that. Now, considering concentration, it's important to know and to have this rinsed out, because your solution ultimately will be more dilute than the original, because we have that excess water in there. So it's very important to make sure you rinse once or twice after initially rinsing with water. Rinsing with the solution ensures that there is only the solution of the said concentration you're analyzing in your pipette. You can take off your bulb to allow the solution to dispense faster if you're doing just rinsings. Once our pipette is rinsed with the solution we're analyzing, we can then transfer it to our clean flask. So let's take a look at our pipette tip. We can see here that the graduations end at 10. So if I want to dispense 5 milliliters of my solution into my flask, I'll make sure to aspirate my bulb. Submerge your pipette into the solution. Push the S to draw up solution into the pipette. Now, if we're going to be dispensing 5 mils, you can press the E to reach the 5 milliliter point, and you're going to remember to read at the meniscus. And then to transfer 5 mils, we'll then push the E again. Until the meniscus is at the 10 mark. This then ensures that we've delivered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mils. This solution is still good, so it can either get put back in